tell your daughter to marry a doctor or a lawyer, tell her to be one. That was the plaque above my bed when I grew up. Although this plaque was a mantra of strength and confidence as a woman, it also sent some messages to me that took me a while to overcome. I didn't become a doctor or a lawyer, but I did become a CPA. I grew up with stories of my grandfather's success as a CPA and my mom's disappointment that she had not fulfilled his dreams of one day taking over his accounting practice. So I decided at 12 years old to become a CPA and one day fulfill the legacy. Throughout our lives, it's not uncommon to believe that we want something that maybe is not what inspires us or what we truly value. Instead, many of us ignore what's deep inside and never connect with our authentic self. We all have defining moments in our life, and my moment was when I was 32 years old. That was when I was promoted to being a partner in a CPA firm. I had worked so hard for that day. I kept driving myself and never ever questioned whether it was right for me. That day, my managing partner came into my office to congratulate me. But it was his next line that changed everything. He said, "I just love knowing who I'm going to retire with one day." I was 32 years old. This sent me into a tailspin. What do you mean? There's nothing else to work toward? I have no more goals? I'm stuck here for 30 more years? So instead of being overwhelmed with excitement, I was actually really unhappy. So rather than celebrating that night with my husband and my children, I called my therapist. And we uncovered that I wasn't happy because I was living somebody else's dreams and not my own. But where did that leave me? I had worked years being a CPA, thinking about being a CPA. It's not that I didn't love my job or love working with my clients, but something in my life was leaving me unfulfilled, and I needed to understand why. Did I really want to quit what I was doing and all the time I had invested in it and start over? I didn't know the answer, but what I did do was stop and disconnect from the pressures around me and go on a journey to see if I could create better work-life harmony. And I did it in 3 ways. The first step was to go to try something new that I had feared to do before. And for me, that was yoga. I had tried yoga in the past, and I had chalked it off to, it's not really for someone with a type A personality like me. But in hindsight, I think I had fear of it. For one, I always thought I had to be the best at something in order to do it. And when I began yoga, I was clearly not a natural. Also, I was racing around all the time, driving toward my goals, that I never allowed myself space to actually think and clear my mind. And what I soon found with yoga is you can't escape from yourself during a yoga practice. You have to be completely present in your movements, your thoughts, and your mind. And it took an incredible amount of courage to stick it out. But yoga created a connection to my true self that I had never allowed myself to have before. The second thing that I did was think about when I was a child, what made me really happy that I gave up when I started my career. And that was music. I had played viola in the Cincinnati Youth Symphony Orchestra. And although I don't play anymore, I wanted to re-explore my love for music. So my son at the time was starting electric guitar, so I thought, why can't I learn a new instrument and play with him? So I signed up for bass guitar lessons and played in a band with other adult beginners. And today, my family plays together as the Vetinators. The third step was creating a community that would support me in my journey of self-discovery. I went to my husband and my children to discuss with them things that I wanted to try and whether we could adjust our lives to accommodate it. And everything was not a yes. However, as I became happier and it affected the family in a positive way, it was easier to make those adjustments. If I had not gotten their support, I could not have gone on this journey. I did end up leaving the CPA firm. However, I decided to pivot my career and use those CPA skills I had invested in another way, by working with small businesses and accounting practices nationally and internationally. I also became a yoga instructor and opened my own yoga studio. I did this as a way to give back to a practice that had transformed me so that other people could access it. When I received my teacher training certificate, someone close to me said, "You're not going to tell anyone about this, are you?" And at that moment, I stepped back and realized this was the first thing I had ever done out of my own personal desire that no one told me to do. So rather than hiding it, I put it up right with my CPA license. It was just as much of a personal accomplishment because it transformed my life to create better work-life harmony. So tonight, we all have moments that are defining for us. But what I'd like you to think about are what was that moment for you and whether you took action on it. And if you put a plaque up above your bed or your child's bed, let it read, "Have the courage to live a life true to yourself and not what others expect of you." Thank you.